What you guys, got another video here for you on how to dual boot Windows 10 and Ubuntu. Now the other day I made a video about Ubuntu and some people wanted to know how to dual boot. Now I will say to you, before you continue with doing a dual boot system, make sure you back up all of your data, because if you get this wrong it will wipe your drive and you can end up with problems. So starting off with the full process, we're going to show you everything here. You're going to need to download Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. This is the latest version. These are your system specs, which I've already covered in the previous video, but these are the minimum specs that you're going to need to run Ubuntu 20.04. Now you're going to need to get yourself Rufus or Etcher or something like that to create your bootable USB media with Ubuntu on it. And you can also use this as the memory card formatter if you wish, just to wipe if you've got some sort of a USB flash drive that you've used previously. Now if you're using an older system, you've got easy BCD. If you've got an older MBR setup, an older computer, you can use something like this at the end to change the menu system. But if you're using a UEFI version like I'm doing, then I'll show you both ways, okay, in this video. Okay, so I've got my USB flash drive plugged into the computer. I'll show you all the steps from start to finish, and also how to remove Ubuntu once you've finished with it, in case you don't want to keep it. So let's go ahead and start off with formatting our USB flash drive. That's the first thing we're going to do. So I'm going to use my SD card formatter here. This is the software. You can use whatever you like. Rufus will do this straight off for you as well, but I'm just going to get it nice and prepped ready for this. So you can see it's got my drive selected here. Make sure you select the right drive, quick format, and you can give it a name, call it whatever you like here. I'm just going to name mine Ubuntu and then click on the format button to format my USB flash drive. This will erase everything on that USB flash drive. Now dual booting is not always recommended by a lot of people because things can go wrong, and you have to obviously take this into consideration before you start the process, because they're two different operating systems, and if you get it wrong you can end up messing up your operating system with all your data on it. So it's important to back up your system before you do anything like this. So let's open up Rufus now, and we're going to get this set up. So this is Ubuntu. It's recognized our drive, and we've also need to select for our ISO image. So let's go ahead and get our ISO image selected. Here it is here. Click open, and that's done. Now you've got your partition scheme here. This is going to be MBR. This is for older computers. GPT is for more modern computers. So whatever PC you're using, whether it be an older one, BIOS or UEFI, or GPT, which will be UEFI non-CSM. So if it's a brand new system, it's going to be GPT UEFI, and if you've got an older computer you can set this up for MBR. It doesn't really matter too much for the bootable media. It just means you have to change a few things in the BIOS to get it to boot, but whatever you're using, just make sure you set the right one. Say yes here, and then we can write the ISO image mode as recommended, and then click OK, and this will erase all of the data on that drive. Okay, so click OK, and it will get it all prepared for us. This will take a bit of time, so be patient and let it do its thing. Once this is completed, we will then be able to boot to this drive and then install Ubuntu on our system. I'll show you the whole process, so don't worry. So let this just create its drive here. It does take a fair bit of time. There we go. I've speeded the process up. So we can now close this off and move on to the next step. And the next step is to get our drive ready for our Ubuntu. So what we're going to do here is go down to the start button here, and we're going to go to disk management. Once we open up disk management, we'll be able to edit our partition here. So we're looking for our drive here, so it's a be on our first drive, and this is our C drive. Now this is to put it on the actual same drive here, so we're going to put it on the C drive. You can see we've got another disk here. This is my USB flash drive. So what we're going to do is right click on that C drive, which has got Windows on it, and shrink that volume. Now you're going to need to have a minimum of 25 gigabytes on that drive, so make sure you've got plenty of space available for yourselves. So I'm just going to give it a nice figure here and click shrink, so 50 gigs or something like that, depending on the size of your drive. You can see we now have 48 0.83 gigabytes of unallocated space because I selected 50 gigabytes. If you want to be a bit more precise, you can do, but that's good enough for what we want. I'm going to leave this unallocated. That's good to go now. What we want to do now is we're going to restart the computer to enter our BIOS and change our boot order so we can boot to our USB flash drive. So you can see here, I'm going to select VMware Virtual Machine, and you should now see it's something like this. If you're booting up to a USB flash drive, I'm going to select Ubuntu up the top here, and that's what you should do as well. Now, yours will be a different BIOS depending on what you're trying to do. I'm doing this on a virtual machine just to show you. It will then go ahead and start to check the drive and check everything and make sure everything is okay. Just let it do its checks, and it's found no errors, and it will then start to boot to Ubuntu here. So let it go ahead and do that. So once we get here, we can move on to the next step in the installation process. So you should now see something like this. Try Ubuntu, install Ubuntu, and you can choose your language. So depending on what part of the world you're in, if you want to try it out first before you commit to the installation, you can hit the Try Ubuntu tab here, and then you can still install from that location if you wish. It just gives you an option to try it out to make sure everything is okay. We're going to go straight in and get install Ubuntu straight away here. Select your keyboard layout. In my case, it's UK, English, and I'm going to select that and continue and move on to the next step, which is updates and other software. We can leave this as a normal installation here. We've also got other options available, which is install third-party software, graphics and Wi-Fi hardware, and also download updates while installing Ubuntu. Of course, you would need to make sure that you've got internet connection to do this. We have, so I'm going to click continue. Now you can see here, this is the easiest method available to you. Install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager. If you see this, this is for beginners, and you can go ahead and use this method, and it will install Ubuntu alongside your Windows 10 operating system. Now, for the more advanced people that want a bit more control over their partitions and stuff like that, then you can use the something else down the bottom here. The erase disk and install Ubuntu is if you want to wipe out Windows 10 completely and install Ubuntu in replace of it. We're dual booting here, so I'm going to select something else here just for the more advanced people that want to know how to have more control. If you're a beginner, use the install Ubuntu alongside Windows 10 Boot Manager. So we're in the something else here, and we're going to start to create our partitions. Now remember, this is for the more advanced, and this is where things can go wrong if you start playing around in here, so be very, very careful. We're going to come down to the 50 gigabytes of free space here. We're going to hit the little plus sign here down the bottom, so you can see your drive. This is your EFI Windows Boot Manager drive. Free space is down the bottom. Hit the little plus sign, and this will open up this window here. Now I need to give it a size here, so I'm just going to say 40,000, and that will be left 10,000 in there. So I'm going to go 40,000 here and leave that as is, and we can leave it as this little line here, mount point, and we can also leave ext4. Click OK, and we should be good to go. Yours should look exactly the same as that. You can change the size to whatever you need. So now we need to go back down to the bottom where it says free space, and you'll see the one we've just created above it saying unknown. So click the plus sign again on free space, and I'm just going to give this 4,000, and we can make this our swap file. So you can see the mount point here. We're not going to be touching this because this will change automatically. We did this in the last one, and we're going to leave this alone for this one. We're going to go up to use as, and we're going to change this to swap area. So this is the swap area, and we can now click OK, and that will take out the rest of that there. So now we've got some free space here left. I'm not worried about that too much. We can use that at a later date, but I'm just going to use what I've got here on the screen. Now this is really important. Make sure you select down the bottom here. This is where it's pointing to, device for bootloader installation. What you need to do here is change this to your Windows Boot Manager, okay, and click install now. If you get that wrong, you're going to have big trouble, okay, so be very, very careful. So we're going to change this now and install this. You can see the settings that it's going to do. It's going to change this partition here, 5 and 6, and it's going to add in the swap area and also the ext4. We're going to add those in. Click install and we're good to go there. Now I'm leaving mine as London. You can change your location to what you like and click on continue. Now we need to put in our name for what we want to use. I'm just going to put Brian here. You can use whatever you like. Give it a password, nice and strong if you want. I'm just going to do something simple here for this tutorial, and you can log in automatically or require my password to log in. That's important that we have a password for security, and just let the installation process go ahead and put Linux onto our system. That installation is now complete. I did speed that up, so it does take a bit more time. We can now restart the computer for the first time and boot to our Ubuntu. So remove the USB flash drive and click on Ubuntu. You will now see Ubuntu and also Windows Boot Manager on that list. We are going to first go into Ubuntu here. Now we still need to do some things on the computer, so stay tuned for those. We need to still remove Ubuntu if we want to. I want to show you that, and I also want to show you how to edit the boot menu here as well. So here we are with our Ubuntu. We've booted up to Ubuntu, and you can now start to use Ubuntu and do whatever you like with it. So you can see here, you can go through this. I covered this in my previous video, but if you do want to have your privacy settings and all that sort of stuff, you can do it here and then click done. And what you really want to do is get all the updates done. So let this take care of the software updater. I'm going to say install now and let that take care of it. You will need to put in your admin password here. I'm just going to do that and authenticate that, and that's now done. And what we can do here is go into here and we can open up a terminal and do some other updates as well, which is always advisable to do. So open up a terminal, and once you get that terminal open, you can type in these two commands and this will update and upgrade the system. So let's go ahead and get that done. So we want to type inside here sudo space apt dash get and then space update and then push enter, and this will give us all the updates. We will need to put in our password, so just put your password in and that will run all the updates. We can now push the up arrow and get that back on the screen, and then use your back arrow to put upgrade. So sudo space apt dash get space upgrade and run that and say UEFI yes, and this will run all the upgrades that you need there. So just let those run, and that's now all covered and done. We can exit out here and we can move on to the next step. So I want to show you some other things here. So let me just quickly reboot the system, and then we're going to go into Windows 10 just to show you how to do both of those. Then I'll show you how to edit and remove Linux altogether, just in case you're finished with the dual boot and you don't want it anymore, but you still want to keep Windows 10. So let's go ahead and restart the system. Again, you will get that menu screen here, and what you want to do here is move down to Windows Boot Manager. Click on this one and this will take you into your Windows 10. So that's how you can dual boot, and this is on a modern day system. So I'm running a UEFI setup for my computer, and that's now good. As you can see here, we're in Windows 10. Now if you're using an older MBR setup, then you can use EasyBCD to edit the boot menu and change that for yourself. But if you're using a modern day computer which is using EFI or UEFI, then obviously this is going to give you a warning and you won't be able to do it. So let's have a look here at EasyBCD. So let's go ahead and get this installed on the system. I'm assuming that you are using an older computer here and you want to change the boot menu, and this is what you can do using EasyBCD. Choose your language, click OK, and then also click OK again, and it will give you a warning if you are using a modern day computer. As you can see here, we're booting from EFI mode because it knows we have got a modern day computer due to limitations set by Microsoft. Many of the EasyBCD functions will not be available. So if you are using an MBR, it will look something like this, and let me show you what it looks like. So basically add a new entry. Once you've added a new entry, go over to the Linux BSD. You can see Grub here, Legacy. You can see Grub 2. You can select that if you wish, or leave it on Grub Legacy. Change this to Ubuntu, and go down into your partition area here and select which partition you want, which is for your Linux. Add that entry. Once you've added that entry, go to edit boot menu, and you will now see the two on the menu here. You can change the countdown from 30 seconds to whatever you like, and you can also use Metro Bootloader if you wish, and click Save Settings, and this will then give you a display of Windows 10 and Ubuntu. So let's now take a look at how we can remove Ubuntu safely. So right click on your Start button and go Disk Management here. Inside here we're looking for the partitions which have Ubuntu on them, and these are the ones here, as you can see, if you've got them on the same drive. So we're going to highlight these and click on them and delete them. Delete these volumes, okay? And once you've done that, you want to do all of them. So we want to do this one. You should see unallocated. Do the next one and delete this one as well. And once that's gone, it will be unallocated space, as you can see here. Now we're going to click on the C drive and extend volume. Right click and extend volume. And this will, you know, basically suck up all of that excess space that we used for Ubuntu, which has now been erased, and put it back into your C drive. Once that's done, we still need to do another step and remove it from the boot menu. So what we're going to do here is go down to the Start button, and we're going to open up PowerShell as admin. So inside the PowerShell window here, wait till this populates, there we go. And what we can do now is type in here disk part. So we need to open up disk part. So just type disk part inside here, and this will take us to the disk part prompt. There we go. And from here we need to select all our volumes that we want to remove. So go list volume, and now we can see the volumes on here. We need to remove that FAT32 volume here. This is the one that is our Linux. These are our Windows ones, so don't touch these. D, recovery and C, leave those, but look at volume 3. Yours might be volume 2 or whatever it is, but mine is volume 3, so I need to select volume 3. So I'm going to go select space vol and then 3, and put that in, and that's now selected that volume. So what we need to do next is assign a letter to that volume. So what we're going to do is going to assign and then space letter, and then we're going to put in our letter, so equals, and we're going to give it a letter of X, and push enter. If we now go to our window here and go this PC, you should see local disk X. This is the volume here. You won't be able to enter it by going into here because you won't have the permission. So go down to the bottom, right click and go Task Manager. Inside the Task Manager window, what we're going to do is go to File, Run New Task, and then Browse. Hit the Browse button, and then we're going to go to that location. So go this PC, into the disk X, EFI, click on that one there, and then you should see a folder called Ubuntu. We're going to delete this folder. So right click, delete, say yes, and then we can close these windows off. We've now removed Ubuntu from our system. So what we need to do now is we're going to take off that drive letter. We don't want that visible. So what we need to do is remove, and then letter equals X. And then once we've done that, this will remove the letter X from that drive. And that's pretty much it. Once we go back to this PC, you should see it's now disappeared, and we've done that job safely. So now we've deleted all the partitions and all of the Ubuntu from the system and changed the menu there. So that's now gone. So now we've done that, we can now reboot the system. And when we reboot the system, there'll be just Windows 10 available on this system here. We won't see a boot menu with Ubuntu or any of that. All the grub has been removed. And when we go there, we'll be able to boot straight into Windows 10, and everything should be back to the way it was before you started. So I've shown you the whole process here on how to dual boot Ubuntu with Windows 10 safely, how to edit the boot menu, and also how to remove Ubuntu from the system as well. So a word of caution here, if you are going to be doing a dual boot on your system, make sure you back up your data. dual booting on the same drive can go wrong and you can end up losing all your data, so be very, very careful. And also, if you're not familiar with this sort of stuff, you may want to leave it alone. And also, you can always practice inside a virtual environment like a virtual machine, so you're not damaging your main system. With that said, my name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Hope this one's been useful to you. I shall see you again tomorrow. Bye for now. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the red subscribe button and hit the bell notification button and click all to be notified when we upload new videos.